down that boat!
Hi everyone, welcome to Canadian Redneck Channel. My name's Dave. Today we have a 574 International here. We're going to change the clutch in. 574 is one of the earliest variants of the 84, 85 series tractors. They're basically all the same as far as clutch goes. This one here most likely is an 11-inch clutch, but we really have to pull it apart before we can tell for sure to order our parts, because it could be an 11 or a 12. So we're going to get started, get taking this thing apart, and we'll get rolling. We have our pressure plate here, and I'm not sure if you can make them out or not, but there is some pretty deep gouges in the flywheel, or pressure plate I mean. It's worn the whole surface of the pressure plate down in, looks like probably 3/32 of an inch, pretty close to 1/8 of an inch, and some deeper gouges in it. The facings of the clutch disc aren't actually too bad. They're not worn all that much, but they're a ceramic disc, so these actually grind up the flywheel and pressure plate more so than the clutch disc itself. But the springs in it are mostly all loose, and you can see where these springs have been wearing on the heads of the bolts. You can see the shiny spots on them. So that flywheel is going to be worn basically as much as the pressure plate here, and you always, every time you change a clutch in one of these tractors, you need to have that flywheel resurfaced, and we'll have to take those bolts in with it, because they may have to shave the heads of the bolts in to make room for the new clutch disc after they resurface it, or it may just plain be worn too far, maybe need to be replaced. It has just worn and slipped too much over the years. So we'll get some new parts ordered, and when we get everything here ready, we'll start putting back together. We'll get our flywheel back from the machine shop. Got it all resurfaced and ready to go. Needed a new ring gear, so we knocked it off with a hammer and chisel. Cleaned up the area with a wire brush. Then the new ring gear goes on. There's a bevel on the inside of the ring gear, and that goes towards the flywheel. Heated up the ring gear with a torch and drove it on with a brass drift. I've got some blocking in here, so that hopefully that should be just about the right height to slip that flywheel right on. So I'll take it around the other side, roll it in, and see where we get to. Because I wasn't paying attention, I have to put the pilot bearing in now after the flywheel's in place. Hopefully I can. I hope I don't have to take the flywheel back out. So on the clutch pedal linkage, we're going to unfasten the linkage from the pedal so that we can turn the clutch cross shaft on beyond its normal travel, so we can get the release bearing and carrier out and change the release bearing. So now we will knock the bearing off the carrier and put the new release bearing on. Have our release bearing reinstalled on the carrier, so we can put it back in place again. And now we'll line up these forks with the carrier and get that back. There we are. And we'll leave that linkage unhooked until we get the clutch, the tractor back together. We're ready now for a clutch disc and pressure plate. This clutch disc is marked flywheel side. The basket with the springs in it goes out towards the pressure plate. Hard started here to hold the pressure plate in place, and then we'll get our line and shafts in. We've got it very close together now. I can just hardly put my finger in between the engine and the clutch housing, but it's still not close enough that you want to put bolts in. The shaft, the pilot shaft, probably hasn't started in the pilot bearing yet, so you want to get it basically touching before you put bolts in. Otherwise you can cause a lot of damage. So we're ready to hook up our clutch linkage now. We'll make sure that the release bearing is fully engaged against the pressure plate. And then we bring our clutch pedal up here to the linkage and check it out. And the pedal is pretty low, so we want to adjust that linkage out a little bit more. There we are. Oh. Got our threads loosened up so we can adjust our linkage now and see where we're at. That's going to have it up so it's up. Well, not quite all the way, so that should be just about right. So that's the end of our video on replacing the clutch on a 574 International. Got our all sewn back together again, ready to rock and roll, so job is finished. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave that in the comment section below. And please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and as always, have a great day.